Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're looking at must-have drones in the game. Now I know a lot of you probably are using Brutus at the time, but at a certain point Brutus does actually fall off a ton and you're gonna have to start thinking about drones you want to switch to. Or maybe you're just a legend player who's looking for a new drone to start investing in and you're wondering which drone to go ahead and pick. And hopefully this video can help narrow down the options so you can come up with a new drone that you really enjoy. Now the very first drone I'd recommend investing in is the booster drone. Now I don't know if this would have been in my list just a month ago because a month ago it only did an extra 20% increased damage, but now it does an extra 25% increased damage while you're still able to use the rest of your supplies. This is my personal go-to favorite drone when I'm either making videos or I just don't really want to use Crisis, because Crisis can be ineffective depending on the map you're in if you're using a close range turret. Because when you're looking at turrets like Freeze, Firebird, Aceta, those turrets are going to be far less effective on Crisis, and I'd highly recommend using the booster drone with these turrets. It's just really helpful to have all your supplies at once with these type of turrets. Now before Crisis drone came out, this was by far the most used drone that I used in this game, because it's truly an amazing drone. 25% increased damage. If you're using an augment as well that gives you increased damage, like on freeze, using corrosive mix can be really helpful. This drone's just really awesome, and although it does use a lot of supplies, if you're playing this game effectively, you can honestly get your supplies back pretty easily. When it comes to necessary drones, especially in Tanki today with the matchmaking, I'd say having either booster or crisis maxed up just a little bit is definitely super important. The ability to do increased damage is basically a key part of this game now, so I definitely recommend going for this drone first, if you don't have Crisis, of course. Now, one drone I actually considered putting into this list was the Trickster drone, but from an objective point of view, it's more so fun than it is actually effective in most lobbies and battles. Now, sure, in games like Assault mode, if you're on attack, or capture the flag, it can be really fun. But in a lot of different modes, having that extra speed isn't actually gonna save your life, whereas if you have booster, you can kill someone faster, or if you have defender, you can survive for a little bit longer. I went ahead and decided not to select Trickster as one of the drones to put into this list, because overall there's a lot better drones you should go ahead and max out first. Now the second drone I'd recommend upgrading is the Hyperion drone. Now this drone is a little bit harder to obtain than the other drones, but it's still relatively easy if you're a decently high rank. So basically what this drone does is it allows you to use all your supplies at once, and there's never any cooldown. So you run out of supplies and you can instantly use them again. Another amazing perk about this is you get your repair back every 13 seconds, which means if you play your cards right, if you play around the game correctly, you can basically not die if you play it smart. Okay, murder this dude, please. Come on, baby. Come on, Augment, don't let me down. There we go, nice. And 10 seconds until I can repair. You're basically free if you run away and find a safe spot for just a few seconds. Now the one downside to this drone is that it doesn't give you any bonus effects on your supplies. Like Trickster gives you extra speed, Booster gives you extra damage. That's the one big downside, but for a lot of augments, if you have the right augments, especially like the Assault magazine for Hammer, you don't need that bonus damage. So being able to get that repair back and have max supplies at all times is honestly a little bit more helpful in some situations than a lot of the other drones on this list. There's also another downside to this drone that I get kind of annoyed by, is that you lose your supplies pretty quickly. So you actually have to press your supply buttons pretty frequently. Oh, that guy almost uses overdrive with me, nice. Like that's the only nuisance with this drone, is that using your supplies over and over and over starts to become quite annoying. But overall, the repair effect on this makes it worth a loan. Like right now, full supplies active at all times allows me to just completely go off on all the enemies and then use double armor, and then I freaking repair again. I'm just going off right now, wow. Dang, 13-1 there with this drone, wow. Before we get into the next drone I'd recommend going for, let's talk about the ones I wouldn't recommend. So firstly, the mechanic drone. So what this thing does, it gives you more health points when using repair, as well as it heals your teammates. Now the reason this one's all not that helpful is because repair is already pretty effective if you know how to use it. So the drone ends up being basically useless. Come on, die please. Thank you. He killed himself. How fun. The next drone I'd recommend not going for is the Saboteur drone, unless you're 100% always gonna camp. Because firstly, with Saboteur drone, after a while, you're gonna start getting focused and people are gonna wanna kill you to remove all those mines. And then once you die, all that effort placed into putting those mines down is for nothing. But yeah, let's get into the drone. You've obviously seen it. It's gonna be the Defender drone. This thing gives you 80% increased armor. That's just incredible to begin with. Having that amount of armor makes you basically able to never get one shot by any turret. This means you're never gonna get one shot by shaft. You're never gonna get one shot by railgun. The amount of health you get with this drone makes you almost invincible. You can have one of the worst augments in the game, but you're still gonna be able to perform really well against enemies who have good augments because you're not gonna be able to die that easily. And then of course, the number one spot, I would 100% recommend upgrading this drone if you have it. It's gonna go to the Crisis drone. Now, if you don't have it, there's a lot of easy ways to actually obtain it. You're gonna wanna go ahead and save up your tank coins so you can at least get 990 tank coins, and then you're gonna wanna spend that on the Tanki fund. Now, I wouldn't recommend spending it on a Tanki fund that has 50 million tank coins and prizes because it's not likely it's gonna reach there. But if the Tanki fund is a nice 20 million tank coins, I definitely recommend buying into the Tanki fund and getting that free Crisis, because Crisis gives you 80% increased armor, 60% increased damage, and 70% increased speed. So this drone can do it all. The only downside is sometimes if the enemies you're going against are really OP and they do a lot of damage fast, you're gonna wanna have multiple supplies at a time to be able to take them out. But this drone is meta in every single game mode, and I would 100% recommend going for this. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video to hopefully help a few of you out in the deciding process if you're just wondering which drone to go for next. Because yeah, you shouldn't be using Brutus at Legend, unfortunately. It just doesn't do enough to make it honestly worthy of being used in Legend. But I hope this video helped you out in some way. Let me know what your favorite drone is to use in Tanki Online. Mine is definitely Crisis, but I'll see you guys in a future video. Don't forget to use creator tag Taspens. Peace out.